This is reproduction for historical context.
Hidden beneath the mountains of central Germany, thousands of prisoners disappeared into tunnels stretching for miles, forced to build weapons meant to change the outcome of a war already slipping away. Most of them never saw daylight again. For decades, historians have pieced together what happened inside these underground worlds, and the truth is darker than most people realize. This is the story of Nazi Germany's hidden factories, the machines built inside them, the lives spent building those machines, and the silence that followed for generations. By 1943, Hitler's control of the skies was gone. Allied bombers pounded German factories into rubble and turned entire cities to ash. The regime needed a way to keep producing weapons without losing everything to fire from above. So German engineers looked downward instead. Beneath forests, mountains, and quiet farmland, a hidden industrial network began to take shape, one that most ordinary Germans never knew existed. Researchers still argue over the true number of these sites. Some estimates place the count in the hundreds, each one carved out of rock and concealed from Allied reconnaissance planes circling overhead. The most notorious of them all sat inside the Konstein Mountain near the town of Nordhausen. From above, the site looked like an unremarkable gypsum quarry. Underground, it told a very different story. Two massive parallel tunnels ran through the mountain, each stretching more than a mile, linked together by dozens of smaller passages. This was Mittelwerk, and inside its chambers, workers assembled the V-2, the world's first long-range ballistic missile, a weapon designed to strike London without any warning at all. The engineering was groundbreaking. The human cost behind it was staggering. To build Mittelwerk, the SS relied on people it viewed as disposable, prisoners pulled from the Buchenwald concentration camp. Thousands were shipped in and driven into brutal labor, hollowing out solid rock using primitive tools, starvation rations, and almost no rest. During the earliest months of construction, there weren't even barracks. Prisoners slept where they worked, stretched out on bare stone in freezing, damp air, breathing in rock dust that slowly destroyed their lungs. Guards patrolled with dogs and whips. Death wasn't rare here, it was routine. Historians estimate that more prisoners died constructing the V-2 rocket than were ever killed by the rockets after they launched. A weapon engineered to kill from hundreds of miles away claimed more lives in its assembly than in its actual use. The camp built to house these laborers, Mittelbau Dora, ranked among the harshest in the entire concentration camp system. Prisoners worked 12-hour shifts underground, then returned to overcrowded barracks where disease moved through the population unchecked. Typhus, tuberculosis, starvation, and execution for offenses as small as hiding a scrap of bread or muttering a word against a guard. Hangings were staged inside the tunnels themselves, in full view of other prisoners, a warning meant to break their will before it could form. As Allied troops advanced in early 1945, the SS began emptying Mittelbau Dora, forcing thousands of exhausted prisoners onto death marches toward other camps. Many who had endured years of underground labor died in the war's final days, some within sight of liberation. When American soldiers entered the tunnels in April of 1945, even hardened veterans were shaken by what they found. Rows of half-finished V-2 rockets sat frozen in assembly. Machinery still idled in empty corridors, and scattered through the passageways lay the bodies of prisoners who never made it out alive. General Dwight Eisenhower later insisted that the horrors uncovered in camps like this one be thoroughly documented, worried that future generations might otherwise refuse to believe such cruelty had ever taken place. Mittelwerk was not an isolated case. As Allied bombing intensified further, Hitler pushed to move aircraft production, fuel refineries, and even parts for experimental jet engines underground. Mountains across Austria and southern Germany were hollowed out using forced labor from the camps, and some of these tunnels were never finished at all. Workers died digging passageways that would never house a single machine. Near Dachau, a cluster of camps known as Kaufering forced prisoners to dig bunkers meant for Messerschmitt jet fighter production. Conditions there were so severe that death rates climbed even higher than at many other camps, making Kaufering one of the deadliest systems in the entire Nazi network, a direct result of that desperate underground race against time. Historians continue to debate whether these last-ditch projects could have changed the war's outcome at all. Many argue German leadership already knew defeat was certain, yet kept sacrificing lives for weapons that would never be produced in any meaningful number. For years after the war, the full scope of this underground network stayed buried, partly by Cold War secrecy. When American forces took control of Mittelwerk, their priority wasn't the atrocity they had just uncovered. It was the technology and the scientists behind it. In a quiet, controversial operation, key German rocket engineers, including Werner von Braun, were relocated to the United States. Knowledge built literally atop a mass grave became the foundation of America's early space program. The same expertise once aimed at terrorizing London later helped carry astronauts to the moon, a connection rarely spoken about beneath the polished image of space-age achievement. Sections of Mittelwerk still exist today beneath the Konstein Mountain, preserved as a memorial. Visitors describe a stillness inside that feels almost physical, some corridors left exactly as they were in 1945. Rusted machinery, collapsed rail lines, and in the deeper chambers, a sense that this place has never fully released its past. Behind every rocket assembled, every foot of tunnel carved, there was a person. A father who never came home, a teenager pulled far from his family, a prisoner who scratched his name into stone, hoping someone would someday find it and remember he had lived. Many of those messages have survived. Countless other tunnels across Europe remain unmapped, sealed beneath hillsides that look, to any passerby, completely ordinary. What they still hold, no one can say for certain. The story of Nazi Germany's underground factories is ultimately about how far human beings can be driven, both to endure suffering and to inflict it. It stands as proof that progress without conscience becomes something monstrous rather than miraculous. If this history moved you, consider sharing it, so the people who died in silence beneath that mountain are not forgotten again.